Shouldn't leave Erica alone over there. morning. Hello and welcome to the first Unitarian Universalist Society of Exeter, affectionately known as FUUSE. I am Sarah DeWitt, a member of your board of trustees. At FUUSE I'm on it today, guys. Okay. At FUUSE we seek to build a caring, inclusive community where we can ground ourselves spiritually, pursue justice in the larger society, and work to heal the natural world. If you are joining us via YouTube Live, you can connect with each other in the live chat, or live stream is available to the public, but recordings are only available by request to members of the congregation. If you are here in the sanctuary and would prefer not to be captured on video, remain behind the first three set of pews. If you are new to this community and would like to be on our email list, which includes the weekly eFUUSE newsletter, please fill out a blue card, which an usher can get for you, or you can fill it out on our webpage. If you have any questions about FUUSE, please feel free to ask anyone involved in today's service. And it looks like we have a few folks up here, so you can ask anyone up here if you have any questions. But first, we have a few announcements before we get started today. From RE, the youth group at FUUSE, which is exciting particularly for me, begins on February 2nd. Meetings will be bi-weekly from 4 to 6. Please share with any interested families of middle schoolers ages 11 to 14. There will be snacks, which is always a good way to get people to come to things. Games and fun. You can contact Rebecca up here, who is our DRE, if you have any questions or you'd like to sign up. From the membership committee, are you new to UU and have questions about Unitarian Universalism and FUUSE? A New to UU Pathways class will be held after Sunday services on February 2nd, March 2nd, and March 23rd. The class is designed for newbies, but all are welcome. See the eFUUSE for the RSVP information. From the Social Justice Action Committee, we are still in need of donations, including winter coats for adults and children, smaller sizes preferred. Donations also include general gift cards and gas cards with any generous amount. Coats, bedding, flatware, and gift cards can be placed in a donation box in the dining room in the parsonage during regular office hours. Contact Bob Moore for more information. From Reverend Ariel and the board, January is winding down, but please remember to bring a friend in the coming months if you think they might benefit from and contribute to what we have going on here. Invite and host them on an upcoming Sunday. We would love to welcome them. From the music committee, we are only a few weeks away from the annual No Talent Talent Show for all ages on February 16th at 11:30, right after the pancake breakfast. See a music committee member to learn more and find the sign up in the parish hall. And as always, from Nancy, our office administrator, please use the Buzz and eFUUSE announcement forms or the office email to submit brief announcements. Wednesday by 5 p.m. is the deadline. Thank you.
Good morning. We are gathered here this morning at the end of a very full weekend that has shown off so much of the strength, flexibility, creativity, and resilience of this community. We gather this morning in Imsquamscook, now called Exeter, in Indakana, the traditional ancestral homeland of the Abenaki, Pennacook, and Wabanaki peoples, past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the Alnanbak people who have stewarded Indakana and its Aki, Nibi, Olakwakak, and Awaasak, land, waterways, flora, and fauna throughout the generations. This weekend was the start-up retreat for our new minister and staff. On Friday, many of us in this congregation gathered to share pizza and ideas. If you were here Friday, can you raise your hand? All right. That's more than half of you for sure. We had, I think, like 50 plus people. There was so many great ideas generated and a lot of enthusiasm, and we will talk more about that in the hour and weeks and months to come. Saturday started with breakfast as the staff, myself included, shared some with Reverend Erica Barron, our UUA congregational life consultant. We shared some of the challenges we've encountered as we figured out the scope and limits of our jobs. We received validation that we are not alone in these kind of struggles. And Erica brought us into conversation with the board about communication and process. After a lunch of soup and bread made by members of this congregation, we sent the rest of the staff home and gathered with other lay leaders in the community room. What started out as a prompt about identifying a piece of FUUSE history that seemed important to share with a new minister evolved into sharing about what brought people to FUUSE and why they stay, why this place is important, and how it has profoundly impacted them. We went on to talk of many things with a focus on how conflict is or isn't managed in the congregation, reflecting on how, in attempts to diffuse or minimize conflict, we can sometimes exacerbate it. We talked about the power of inviting your friends to church and the challenges faced by parents today. If you were with us on Saturday, please raise your hands. If you weren't and you want to know, wait, keep those hands raised. If you weren't and you want to know more, find these people with their hands raised to talk to. Today, we come together as a wider congregation to worship, which is ultimately what we are here to do, the reason we exist as a religious institution, to honor the various ways we build community and care for each other, individually and as a whole. This congregation is made up of the people who make it happen. Me, the staff, and all of you. Let us worship together. Please join me in reciting our unison covenant printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to respect the nurturing power within all of us, to stay in the struggle until love wins. Thus do we covenant. And now I invite Delaney Allen to come forward and light our chalice. Our chalice lighting words by Denny Davidoff are the words that we've been starting every board meeting with this year, as well as meetings of the Committee on Ministry. And I thought we all might take something from them. How to be a Unitarian Universalist leader. 1, breathe deeply. 2, relinquish control. 3, learn to pray. 4, play fair. 5, temper narcissism. 6, read poetry. 7, internalize patience. 8, listen intensely. 9, admit errors. 10. Breathe deeply. I now invite you to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 288, All Our Architects, and Melanie will be our song leader. So many people shared about how they came to this congregation for the religious education program. And being a multi-generational congregation is part of who we are. So the Time for All Ages, as part of that, is part of every service. Today, in lieu of a storybook, we have an improv game. And we have a few volunteers who are going to come forward. So let's let our volunteers to come forward. And then we're going to invite the kids to come forward to help us transform these volunteers into the smartest being at FUUSE. This is a being with 3 bodies but 1 mind. So it has the combined knowledge of Barbara, Mercy, and Rebecca, which obviously would be the smartest being at FUUSE. So, Rebecca is going to guide the younger ones in adorning this being so that we can see it more as one and rather instead of 3.
So you unfold them and then find
So let's
the head
give them
hole,
a moment
and
to
you're
set
gonna
up.
Dress the monsters, okay?
Oh, it's a monster
Or
now.
the creature, not the monster, you know. I don't know, have you guys had coffee yet? Are we a monster?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
creature
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
creature, all
We're
right.
ready to go, rock and roll.
All right, so find the hole. There you go. And then dress the monster, or creature.
I mean, with this
uncaffeinated.
much knowledge, it might just have to be a monster.
Can you arrange it around me? Here, get it around me. You want us to make us look like one big creature.
Pass my hair.
Excellent, lovely. All right,
We good?
I think we're good.
All right, look at that.
How do we look?
Nori, come
Thanks,
on
you guys.
up. Nori, hi.
All right, so this is the smartest being at FUUSE, so they probably know a lot about the congregation. So I'm going to ask some questions, but let me explain how this will work. So I will ask a question, and you will answer 1 word at a time. So beginning with Barbara, and then Mercy, and then Rebecca, and then Barbara. And so let's say, for example, I were to say, what's the meaning of life? And then you might say, always stay in the present period. That ends the answer. So that's just,
So a full sentence.
yeah, but 1 word at a time.
Yeah, gotcha.
And just, don't think too much, have fun. But so no individual brain needs to know the answer. But collectively, we will find out. So, is the creature able to pass this microphone? Do you have arms for that?
Mercy doesn't.
Okay, but you can, okay,
Well,
great.
if-
All right. So What is the most important thing to know about FUUSE?
Always love each other.
It keeps going until someone says period.
And don't kick. Don't kick. But
Come on, smart woman.
Don't kick, but
Just think of any word.
but please.
find children to talk and play with, period.
All right, so the question was, what is the most important thing to know about FUUSE? And what I heard was, always love each other and don't kick, but then you said, please find children to play with, to talk and play with. Okay. All right. So that's the thing to know. Okay. So let's say, okay, I can work within those parameters, but I want to make something happen here. So how do I make something happen at FUUSE? And we can start with Mercy since you ended. Just any word.
Hug.
A
Tree. That
gives
us
Oxygen.
period.
I feel like I need to walk outside and hug that tree. So in order to make something happen, you hug a tree that gives us oxygen. Okay. All right, let's just try one more question. What impact will FUUSE have in our wider community over the next 5 years?
we
Will
Don't think too hard.
help others weather the
beliefs
that
Injustice.
are
We will help others weather the beliefs that injustice are. We will help others weather the beliefs that injustice are. Injustices are
wrong.
wrong.
And
And
believe the justices are wrong, and we
Will
continue
to help others.
you can say period or not.
love.
Period.
All right, so something about we will help others weather the injustices are wrong and love each other, period. Okay. I will say that this is an important reminder that the ability to form grammatically correct sentences and intelligence are not directly linked. Well, let us all thank this smartest being. If we have other questions in the days and years to come, we will call you back. Thank you.
We'll be in Hollywood.
All right. And now I invite folks to return to their seats as we invite forward Elizabeth and Melanie to sing We Shall Be Known by my muse, accompanied by Jimmy on guitar.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
And now let us rise and sing number 16, Simple Gifts. And in the second half, the children may go forth to religious education. There it is.
Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. When we find ourselves in a place just right, to be in the valley of love and delight. When to simplicity is came, in our then we shan't be ashamed. Turn, we are delightful when turning we come round right.
Can you hear me? Okay. For those of you new to FUUSE, I'll share a tiny bit of personal history. My husband Brad and I cared for his parents for 14 years, during which time neither one of them could drive. They had both been very active in this church, especially my father-in-law, Paul, who ran the property committee, and personally supervised several do-it-yourself renovations, cleaned out the refrigerator every week, and monitored the thermostats. As his mind became a little bit misty, our former minister and administrative assistant gave him some office jobs so he could still feel like he was contributing, which he did. The plan was that he would ride in with Brad when he went to work, and then a few hours later, Paul would call me to get a ride home back to our farm in Brentwood. There were many times when he would come home on his own, and when I asked how he got there, he would say, "Oh, I called Dan Hummel and he came and got me." Or sometimes it was Pat Yasha, or Steve Kenny, or J.B. Gardner, or Ingeborg Locke, Jim Morris. I'm sure a bunch of you put in your time. I was embarrassed and asked him to please call me instead, but he said, "Oh, don't worry, they don't mind." I think they might very well have minded, since I suspect they were not waiting by the phone for a call from Paul. But they let him know if it wasn't a good time, and then he would just call someone else. He so much wanted to make his own arrangements, and he never learned to call me because, well, the answer was usually yes. In Kurt Vonnegut's 1965 novel, God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, which incidentally is a satire about the uber wealthy in a capitalist society, the protagonist, Elliot Rosewater, is present at the baptism of a neighbor's twins and says the following, and I cleaned up the language a little bit. I don't think most of you mind, but anyway. "Hello, babies. Welcome to Earth. It's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. It's round and wet and crowded. On the outside, you've got 100 years here. There's only one rule I know of. Gosh darn it, you've got to be kind." This is what we try to do here. We show up for one another and take care of each other when it is possible and to the best of our abilities. We bake brownies and make sandwiches for our beloved community memorial services. We bring a meal to our families with new babies. We drop off soup to a member who had surgery or leave a bag of granola for someone who might be feeling low. We sit quietly with each other in grief. Over the years, we've given occasional rides to an appointment, visited each other in the hospital, and left jars of homegrown flowers on a doorstep. And sometimes the most important thing we do for each other is to listen and not interrupt, bearing witness to a troubling story or a worry that requires sharing. Notice that I say we. I mean all of us, because we are an extended family orbiting beyond our home families. And for some of us, some over the years, this is the only family they've had. Our minister is here to help in times of need, of course, but they cannot possibly do it alone. The caring committee, of which Gwen and I are, and a number of others are members, administers and organizes this pastoral ministry, but we do not do it alone either. This is all of us, each doing what they are able to take turns holding each other up or being the one held.
As we think about all that we do to care for one another in all of the many ways that happens, let us take a moment to share our joys and sorrows here in this space. We may want to share something that made us feel joyful this week or today, the blue sky, the snow, children playing, winter sunset, a relationship that has nurtured us. And there may be something heavy and sad on our minds that wants to be shared, maybe this week especially. We are here for one another. We care for each other, and we will listen. Please share, if you would like, by writing your joy of sorrow legibly on a piece of paper that the ushers can give to you, or keep it close in the quiet of your heart. But know that we are interconnected even without the words being said. There are candles in the corners of the room if you wish to light one silently.
This was written, is this on? No. What? Get a tap? Don't you cross me. Microphone. This was written with a left hand. Dear FUUSE family, thank you for all the loving kindness in my healing from a fall. From Sylvia. You want to take? Oh, sure. Sorry.
Joy in the cold days of January. The river near our house has iced over. In some spots, the ice is 4 inches thick and crystal clear. It's amazing to see fish swimming underneath. This world is amazing.
Oh, what a blessing the caring committee is. Amy and Gwen. But there's lots of others of us.
Much appreciation and admiration for all the FUUSE folks involved in the window dressers program, including Cliff Sinnott, Stephanie Marshall, Kate and Andy Grimm, who organized many volunteers to build 190 window inserts, many for our own parsonage as well as people's homes. The earth thanks them from planet Earth.
Joy that FUUSE can celebrate and defend diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice for all.
From Jim Varn, joy that my daughter Hannah and her family will be visiting today. Of course, I'll be glad to see my grandchildren, but the real joy is seeing their new puppy, Max. My wife and I will try to hide him when they leave.
Parenting is so hard sometimes, but the river in our backyard froze over this weekend, and it was quite an example of nature's beauty and wonder.
Being here again, listening to everyone, and seeing such kind, familiar faces reminds me of the impact FUUSE has had on me and how I always have a place in this congregation. It seems to bring me to tears. From Delaney Allen.
Joy that Erica Barron has been with us this weekend. I agree with that. And for years sharing her wisdom and humor. Joy spending the last 6 weeks with Delaney, and sorrow to send her back to college today.
Deep gratitude. A couple of tears going on over here in the front. Deep gratitude for this community.
Joy that our republic is still functioning under the rules of law.
Let's hope. I feel a deep sorrow in knowing I won't be able to see or hear my father again, but a relief in knowing that love still continues on despite the hurt created. I'm out.
Joy to have my beloved at church with me this week from Doc.
Recovering from pneumonia on a snowy morning, I received a text message, and I was reminded that it is important to accept offered help. Thank you, Steve Kenny, for clearing my driveway. Tony Tufts.
Joy to talk with activists who are working to organize like-minded activists to make this a more peaceful time in our country.
Friday night here was wonderful to see so many come and participate. I'm also encouraged by the way lawyers, judges, and others have been ready, and the barrage of awfulness has only strengthened my resolve to fight, to stay in the struggle until love wins. Deb Merrick. As we think of what was spoken, laws, loss, love, togetherness, icy rivers. May you hold these thoughts, spoken and unspoken, with love and connection.
It's so good to be with you this weekend. I invite you to take a moment to notice gravity So you can do this by noticing how gravity is holding you. So what you are sitting on, what your feet are resting on, what your body is resting on. Or you can notice how gravity is holding something else, someone near you or the candle on the podium. Just notice where gravity is holding you and everyone. Just take a moment to be in that awareness. Sometimes when things are hard and the world seems confusing, it can be helpful to remember that we are literally always held by planet Earth, who will never let us go. And the way that works, of course, is because anything that has any substance to it holds on to what is around it, which means we're actually also gravitationally drawn to each other, even if it's less strong than the pull of the Earth. So as we are together in this community this morning, I invite you to remember that the Earth is holding all of us. We are pulling together, and that is always true, no matter what. And I invite you to sing our meditative song, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Grow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. I am. Do what Amy did. It will work for Amy. It will work for me. I'm going to say a few words about the place of music at FUUSE. This is kind of a personal thing because actually music for me is kind of my AI. It's just always been part of my life, and whether I'm alone or together or whenever, it's around. At my house, wherever I am, and that's part of the reason I joined the choir at FUUSE. But here in this community, I think singing together is, the experience of music singing together is different for all of us, but has a similarity too, in that it brings us together. And Reverend Ariel and Jimmy and the music committee seem to have done, I think, this year an amazing job of pulling together the theme of whatever the month is or the week is, and the music planned. Their planning has been extraordinary. And I started noticing it right in September, and it continues. They seem to make the music reflect the issues that are in the service that we're thinking about this week. So, and then there's the choir. Of course, the choir adds special music, and not only the choir, but other special music, people like Nancy, and sometimes Susan with her, and their recorders, and the guitar people, Bob and Brad, and other people who play other music, and vocal music like we just had. That was beautiful. All these aspects of music can add dimensions to a service that are really unique to that service and that time, and won't exactly be repeated, so they're new and different. I also think that music it's integrated and it's communal, but it's also very emotional and individual to people. So what may be your feeling about music may not be someone else's next to you. I think we all experience music in a different way. And a good example is the spirit of life that we just sang. So if we just said those words, I don't think it would have anything like the impact that singing Spirit of Life does. I find that true for me, and I don't know about for all of you. But I think that there's a personal aspect that kind of connects with the spiritual life in this church that comes through the music we have here. And I think we're really lucky to have Jimmy, Ariel, Janice, and the FUUSE committee, music committee, and any of us who are participating in music, and it adds a lot. I can't imagine a church service here without any music in it.
I've been thinking lately that based on my role and the demands of the last 3 years, that I've lost track of my personal anchor here at FUUSE. Lots of work, lots of stuff to be resolved, all of which was important. But in the process of getting all that done, at some point, I disconnected a little bit emotionally. This had become more about another job I had to do, less about a community I was engaged in, being with, supporting, and building. Yesterday, as a part of this startup retreat weekend, Reverend Erica led the lay leadership and Reverend Ariel through some conversations. One of the sessions gave us a way to look at our history and share it with our new minister to support them in their learning. Erica asked each of us to share one memory, one moment, that in the telling of that memory or moment would convey something to Reverend Ariel that's important to each of us about FUUSE. What I heard and felt there was one of the most meaningful things I've experienced here recently. People shared with love and care moments of joy, heartbreak, partnership, friendship, learning, service, advocacy, community. Small moments and many years together that changed everything. I conceptually know all of this, but to hear it and feel it from 25 people at one time was another thing entirely. I left yesterday knowing in my heart that this is what matters. Our relationships to one another are what we come here for. Connections that help us in our best and darkest moments, the fellowship that gives us the space to process and celebrate and grieve, the community that fights hard to keep us out of isolation and in person together. The learning and growing we get, in learning and growing we get the privilege to do together this learning and growing and community, then enabling us to have the courage to go out and attempt to change the world in the ways that are desperately needed. It was so clear to me yesterday that in this ability of this space and this community to provide the opportunity for all of us to connect in all of those ways, that is what is unique and special and needed now more than ever. And the simple truth is that in order to ensure what brought us here, what our kids and families got here, what we continue to receive ourselves, that those things continue to benefit us and others, we must, each of us, be stewards of the promises of this place. We must give our time and we must give our resources. Without volunteers, without money, there is no FUUSE for the future. We must ensure that what we have gotten is available to all those who need it after us. In the spirit of paying it forward, of providing others what we have been given, the offering of this church will be gratefully received.
I've been approaching this year, this first year of ministry here, with these mixed metaphors of foundation building or strengthening and map making. So I try to find my footing, my way around in this new to me space. It's been an attempt to focus in before we get out too far. In the board retreat, someone was like, what about strategic planning? I'm like, that is a great idea, and I have no idea what is going on here. So maybe we can work on the startup of the new ministry and the new staff and focus our attention there so that when we get to that, we have more people who know what's going on and how to work here. So we've been working on that. And in the midst of that, there are still lots of generative ideas, as we saw on Friday. So many brilliant, creative, generous thoughts on what we want and think we might, maybe, somehow, could possibly do. And the board will explore how to move forward in ways that are sustainable and equitable, with some support from Erica and the UUA. We want to focus on process, on clearer paths to manifestation. So it's not just somebody has an idea and puts something there, which might be a great idea, but what about that other person who had an idea but didn't know how to make that possible? And so how can we develop those processes, support the ideas that from people whose voices maybe haven't been heard as much in this congregation, as we continue to build and support each other, bring in other people, support the wider community. We are not angels. And so, to dance, we need a floor, a strong foundation upon which to move. So much is already here and strong. There is so much going well here, so much health that exists in this system. And we will always need to learn how to invite in new dancers, show them the moves and where things are, change our structures, and remap the terrain to make space for new perspectives and ways of being. But we can do it together. And so I now invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance. And please feel free to dance along, though I'm sure you would have without that invitation. as you return to your seats, if you danced away, please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this chalice, but we take the light with us. And now our unison benediction. Go in peace, speak the truth, give thanks each day. Respect the earth and all creatures, for they are alive like you. Care for your body, it is a wondrous gift. Be gentle with yourselves. Live simply, be of service. Be guided by your faith and not your fear. Go lightly on your way. Move in a sacred manner.
Yellowy white sweatshirt. Wait here.
Out of the box.
Yeah, I got lots of other people to say lots of words. Great.
But it made it, I don't know. You know, just the fact that you came down and lit a candle felt like, okay, so we're sort of busting down the fourth wall, right? You know, kind of.
I think it's still on.
Yeah. It's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
And you guys kept talking about fear. You know what I mean? And so, and I was the one who suggested, why don't we play at your church? And that's how I came up with the idea. I was thinking about that. Electric keyboard that has different sounds to it. It's really hard
I could have stayed in that room all day. It was
when I was
a sweltering hot day in July.
Syracuse had a lot of keyboards, but a lot of keyboard players who became famous were there. So I was hearing hockey players all the time. It was amazing. Syracuse University, which is when I was there too. I built an addition to put one of those in.